Hey friends, it's me, Luke, Bethany, and I just did a homework paper. I'm gonna sign it. It's done. I'm finished with my history homework. Today, I'm going to be reading to you the history of the Declaration of Independence, following the guidelines set, by which I must include each of these 25 subjects. Let's begin. The history of the Declaration of Independence is a long and patriotic one. It is full of twists and turns and red-coated friends. There are many events leading up to the famous document's creation, and it is my duty on this assignment to give you a rundown of these happenings. The Magna Carta was the basis for the creation of the DOI, or DOI, an abbreviation of Declaration of Independence. Since about 75% of the Declaration is a huge list of grievances against the King of England, it was vital to its existence that it was legal to create such complaints. The Magna Carta was one of the first documents to go against the total control aspect of a monarch's power, and that is a very important piece of the Declaration of Independence. The Protestant Reformation is another old thing that affected the DOI. It focused on limiting the powers of the Roman Catholic Church, which, similar to the Magna Carta, helped back the Declaration's policies against the complete power of the leader of a region. The Declaration of Independence is a mixture of many other documents, and the English Bill of Rights is a major one. The DOI explicitly states that all men are created equal and are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, a clear parallel to the Bill of Rights. During the Enlightenment, a period of major political and ideological shifts in Europe, a man named John Locke created his social contract theory, which also explored human rights and ethics. The French and Indian War had a more distant connection to the Declaration. It set the basis for the American Revolution by giving Britain an incentive, the massive war debt that is, to employ the taxes that would be the original cause of the protests leading up to the Revolution and the signing of the Declaration of Independence. The Albany Plan of Union, suggested by Ben Franklin himself, was, albeit mostly unintentionally, the foundation for the idea of an independent colonial government. It suggested that the colonies should have a partial government dedicated to dealing with the colonies as a whole, which would supposedly improve the strength of the colonies in wars and other major affairs. Although met with less than optimal audience reception, it did have an effect on the Declaration's policies. The 1763 Treaty of Paris gave the colonies plenty of extra wiggle room in their land. The colonists seemed to like this, so they tried to do it more. Unfortunately, the British feared another crippling conflict between them and France would arise if their colonies were to bite off more than they could chew. So they implemented the Proclamation of 1763 to limit the colonists' conquests. The colonists, in their budding patriotism, decided that this was a heinous violation of their freedom. The colonists would go on to add a few clauses about freedom to their Declaration of Independence, a document known for its freedom. There were a lot of acts after the Proclamation of 1763. You've probably heard of a few. The Sugar Act put taxes on many goods, mainly molasses. The Quartering Act forced colonists to provide for redcoats. The Stamp Act required loads of printed documents to be authorized with stamps. The Declaratory Act tried to establish total control over the colonies. The Townshend Acts placed more taxes on more goods. Around this time, the colonists began to protest these legislations, with a popular retort being, no taxation without representation. The Boston Massacre was a result of one of these protests, with British guards fatally shooting several colonists in a frenzy of weighted snowballs and pitchforks. The Brits decided they would finish up with a few final acts. The Tea Act restricted colonial trade markets and placed taxes on several major British exports, leading to the Boston Tea Party protest. The Intolerable Acts tried to buffer colonial protests and to remove even more war debt. The Quebec Act even tried to give more rights than the colonists had to enemies of Britain. This all led up to the battles of Lexington and Concord, and the infamous Shot Heard Round the World. The Second Continental Congress was established to set the foundations for the American government at the beginning of the Revolution, and some of the debated topics in its first meeting were actually almost directly related to the Declaration of Independence. The Battle of Bunker Hill was the first true test of the Patriots' strength. It was a key point in showing Britain that the colonists meant business with this thing. The Americans fought a good fight, and they won the battles there on not Bunker Hill, showing that this Congress and these colonies had a somewhat decent future in the coming wars. At this point, the colonists are pretty much set and decided on the Revolutionary War, but just to make sure, they send out the Olive Branch petition to see what the Crown thinks about peace. He doesn't think about peace. The colonists, with their theories proven, sign the mighty Declaration of Independence, printing their names onto what King George expects to be their tombstones, and kicking off the real revolution. This concludes the reading of my homework. See ya.